all of us have a place at which we can't hold what's happening anymore. We may not judge, we may not show it, but you can feel it. You can feel the extent to which you can open with another person. So what you're really looking for in somebody that you work with is a feeling that you can open all the way, as far as you want to open. This is Aliveness, the show that explores how to create the changes you need to make to experience the sense of aliveness you're longing for, and how the power of plant medicine can accelerate that process for you. I'm your host, Alison Crosthwait, a guide and former psychotherapist, here to empower you to break out of your old patterns, shift into a new state of being, and ignite your aliveness. All of them make promises, and pretty much all of them say they address stress and anxiety and meaning. So what are we supposed to do when we're looking to grow? Here's the thing. They did a whole bunch of research on what types of psychotherapy actually are most effective. And what they have found repeatedly is that the relationship between therapist and client is the greatest predictor of success. And it doesn't actually matter if it's CBT or hypnosis or trauma therapy or psychoanalytic therapy, that the modality is secondary. And I'm going to go a little bit further even here and say all of the tools are available on YouTube. Every single one of them is on YouTube or in a book, and any type of scarcity that anybody presents to you is pretty much false. I mean, these days, you can get all the magic spells that used to be kept so closely. They're all easily available. Sometimes people will say, oh, you have to join my program to get access to blah, blah, blah. But really, when you know what you're doing, you can find the tools. You may not know exactly how they say it or how they present it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work with them, but the tools are available to us, from breathing to yoga to understanding psychology to learning to reflect on yourself to spiritual wisdom of all traditions. And so it's not about the information. If you've seen my episode on the 2 stages of healing, which I really recommend that you go and check out, you know that when we're in the fix it, we're looking for answers and we're out of our own wisdom. We think it's information we're after. We're not distinguishing at all. But as we move into a more grounded way of working with ourselves, the question is not who has the tools, though it can be very, very helpful, especially at the beginning, to have someone teaching you the tools specifically. Although I will say there is very good teaching available on YouTube. But to have that kind of correction, especially for some of the things that are more intense or, say, riskier or more outside your comfort zone, it's great to have one-on-one teaching. But that's not what you're coming to somebody for. What are you coming to somebody for then, if it's not the information? Well, you're coming to them for the space that they hold, the extent to which they are able to stay with their own breath and their body while you have your experience. For example, you wouldn't go to see a therapist who was judging you for your particular struggle. You wouldn't do that. Well, all of us have a place at which we can't hold what's happening anymore. We may not judge, we may not show it, but you can feel it. You can feel the extent to which you can open with another person. So what you're really looking for in somebody that you work with is a feeling that you can open all the way, as far as you want to open. And this changes over time, because as you open, Then you'll start to feel the parameters of the container, and you'll have this sense like, oh, I'm ready for a new support because we've kind of explored the contours, and I'm ready for another kind of holding, or perhaps a deeper, more expansive holding. So it's really important to understand that difference between I'm looking for the information and I'm looking for the space being held. And usually you're being offered a combination. But for example, in Expand, I give you the one-on-one attention in figuring out your dose and your medicine and how you're going to approach that. But that information is not hard to find. It's nice to have the guidance, but that's not really what I'm offering. What I'm offering is the held space for you to go inside and find that intention. And together we co-create the perfect wording for what it is you are desiring. And then as you start your microdosing journey, things happen. And I hold space for all the things that happen. And my kind of holding space means that sometimes we're in talking about money, and sometimes it's sex, and sometimes it's relationships, and sometimes it's work. And we've got space for all the different pieces of the soup, understanding that it's all life force moving through the stages of healing. And that's really what you're coming to me for, is to have that space held so that you then can take some of that energy and hold yourself and you expand. And in this very colonizing patriarchal culture that we live in, we're very much about selling expertise, which most of it is stolen, quite honestly, from other personal development and ancient wisdom and traditional wisdom, and creating empires and trademarking things that can't be trademarked, and then saying, oh, I can fix this for you. My process will fix this for you, instead of really understanding that what a person can offer another person is accompaniment, a kind of wisdom accompaniment on their journey. And that to the extent the person who's walking alongside has traversed that territory in themselves and expanded and grown to be able to hold more, they are able to hold where you need to go. And you're sensing that out. That's why you've chosen to work with somebody, because they're creating a space that gives you the freedom to move around in it, which is also how we learned as children, in accompaniment with our caregivers, our siblings, our friends. We learn in relationship. So the shift is from the colonizing, pay me money and I will tell you how to do things that you don't know how to do, to an energy exchange for the accompaniment in our shared experience of life. That there is nothing that I have or any practitioner has that you don't have. And it is the practitioner's ability to hold space and stay grounded through all of the different feelings that you have and they have because of their intense personal practice that creates the space for you to expand and connect to your own wisdom. I'm so fired up about this idea. I think it's so important. So there should be no FOMO, no scarcity. The only scarcity is a little bit of time, because sometimes things happen on times and days. And so decisions have to be made on times and days. But when you work with someone, you're looking to work with someone who you feel abundance with, abundance of time and space and freedom, who you feel safe with to explore the ways in which you don't feel safe in the world. If it feels like I'm somebody who could hold space for you, I would love to talk to you about that. Check out the offerings page on my website, AlisonCrossthwait.com/offerings, and we'll go from there.